Welcome back to Words with Michelle, the podcast, a podcast where I, your host, Michelle, spotlights inspiring change makers, innovators, and voices you need to hear. To listen to each show, you can subscribe to Words with Michelle on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks again for tuning into the latest episode of Words with Michelle, the podcast. This is part 2 of my interview with George Stroumboulopoulos, aka Strombo, media legend, a former Much Music VJ, as well as the recipient of the Royal Order of Canada. To recap the first interview with George Stroumboulopoulos, we spoke about his time in media, being a former VJ, as well as he imparted life lessons that resonated very deeply with me. And I hope it helped you on your journey as well. Although I enjoyed part 1, in part 2, I find out more about Strombo. We bonded over growing up in Rexdale. He educates me on music therapy, and he also enlightens me with more life lessons about pursuing your goals and believing in yourself. So to start the episode, we jump right back into the conversation. So again, I just wanted to thank Strombo for being on my show. Thanks again, Strombo.
Things and yeah, I've been very, very lucky that my adult life was kind of the opposite of my pre-adult life. However, I'm the same guy now that I was when I was 18. Hopefully a little bit more lovely, hopefully. But aside from that, I'm the same guy. I have the same fire. I'm ready to fight all the time for good.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I honestly, like, I wasn't playing when I said I think you should teach this. I feel like people would benefit from your words. Do you teach like anywhere?
No.
Is that anything that would be of interest to you?
No. I don't even like I work with people who really want me to do a speech so I can go do speaking tours. I go on speaking tours, but I don't do any of this as a speech. I don't even do that. I'll just do Q&As where I'll let somebody interview me. I don't know. And again, it's one of those things where I just can't be bothered.
Really? Oh my God.
Yeah. And so I also like to talk to people one-on-one. And I don't mind talking in a group, but I never assume anybody's interested in what I have to say. So if you invite me to talk, then I'll speak with you. But I don't assume that a room full of people wants my worldview.
Okay, so I can tell you, I think a room of people do. I mean, I really do. But I mean, I think, there are people that would like to listen to what you have to say because
I have to figure out how to make a module, where I can teach.
I think you can because I mean, like you have so much life experience. I mean, just what you told me in like 40 minutes or 30 minutes, was just helped. It opened my eyes.
I'll watch the interview back and I'll try to see if I can remember any of it. No, I'm just sitting here with the CN Tower, just sort of hanging out with the CN Tower, I'm just a guy standing here with the CN Tower having a conversation with you.
I mean, I'm like I said before, I'm grateful for all of this. I mean, wow.
So wait, you grew up in Rexdale? Where in Rexdale? I lived behind the Rexdale Mall. I worked at the Woodbine Center. I have been detained in several areas.
Oh my God. Okay,
every single time I deserved it. I should say that. I behaved poorly and deserved it.
Yeah.
So
oh my God. Okay, so speaking of Woodbine Center, because that is the mall of Rexdale. Did you work at JJ Muggs?
No, I partied at JJ Muggs. I worked at the movie theater on the other
so
side.
You never worked at JJ Muggs? Oh, I thought you
No. I'd go to JJ Muggs on Thursday nights when I was finished my shift at 15, and they would serve us at 15 years old, and I would just go in there and just get ripped, and then I would sleep in the mall because I was too drunk to ride I was about 16, 17, sometimes 18, 19, but I was too drunk to ride my motorcycle home. I didn't have enough money to take a taxi, and the buses stopped running. So my production company is named Malton 58, the bus that I would take. But that was a Mississauga Transit bus. It was a different bus. And so I couldn't get home. So I would just sleep in the mall. And it was usually because of my behavior at JJ Muggs. Usually.
How about serving someone at 15? Did you look 19?
No. Girl, it was the 80s. I listen to younger millennials and Gen Zs and Gen Alphas. I listen to them go on and on and on. And it's like, dude, it was the 80s. Like, let's all settle down. The 80s was crazy. The 70s, crazy. and I know that every generation says, oh, the generation before us talked about stuff. We are the last of the unsurveilled generation. Nobody knew where we were. They weren't tracking us at every turn. Nobody knew. My mom didn't know where I was. I had 3 jobs by the time I was 15 years old, out of the house. Yes, 3 jobs in a week, like all the time. I was 15 years old. Like there's no, it is incredible. It's not just that we were unsurveilled. It's we didn't want to be in contact. When I remember in high school, like I went to this school, amazing kids in my school, beautiful, beautiful girls, beautiful guys in my school. Somebody would pull out a camera to take a picture, then they would give the finger. Like we didn't want, and we were all ethnics too. We're all ethnics, right? We're all the first people in our family born in Canada. So our family, we weren't raised in a Canadian way that we saw on TV. We were raised in a new Canadian way, which is we were all ethnics. And that's not the same thing as us. People who aren't ethnics don't know the ethnic experience unless you live close to them. And so we just grew up. It's not that we were feral, but we weren't feral at home. We had this other version of us, which was, we were basically werewolves, we're just behaving at home because our family came from old worlds and it was strict, and English wasn't always the first language in many of my friends' homes. In fact, barely in many of my friends' homes. So you grew up under strict, immigrant realities, dead broke realities, and then you would leave to go meet a girl at a park at midnight on a park bench, and your friends would show up and somebody would bring firecrackers and somebody would bring booze, and free, and nobody knew where you were. The greatest thing about growing up Gen X is how free we were. And so when I think about, like, I was in a bar in Quebec City getting served at 14.
What?
Yes, of course, 80s.
I mean, okay,
The
when I
best.
turned 19, I could barely get served because I always looked young. I mean, I look young. I'm not young.
Yeah, you look
Remember, I
young,
do
yeah.
remember much music. So, but I mean, I always looked young. I could not, on my 19th birthday, I couldn't get served.
When I was 14, I looked 14. It just didn't matter. It
Um,
just didn't matter. Nobody cared.
Holy crap! Really?
Yeah, it was such a good time. Oh my gosh. I also think that's part of the reason why I have this worldview that I do, is that when you grow up unsurveilled and kind of free, but you understand the strictness of your home. My mom's very, 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 very Christian. Very, very, very Christian. So I learned how to maneuver, you know, and hopefully none of that stuck. So I just think that's part of the reason I have this approach to life that I do,
I love your
is
approach
the
to life. I
era
do.
that I grew up in and the music that I listened to,
Okay, who are your favorite bands then?
Well, I grew up in that era where it was Led Zeppelin and Metallica and Slayer and Venom and the Clash and the Sex Pistols and Motley Crue. I don't like Motley Crue anymore, but I liked them then. Steve Miller, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, Bob Dylan and Neil Young are my number 1 and number 2. Like Bob Dylan, Neil Young are the greatest for me. Beastie Boys, Public Enemy, KRS-One, BDP, KRS-One, and then Tribe Called Quest. Wu-Tang came out. So I come from an era where we were listening to all kinds of music, and all of it changed me. But now the bands I go back to the most are the punk and the metal. So I listen to Joe Strummer, from the Clash. I listen to his solo music all the time. I listen to Neil Young and the Grateful Dead all the time. I listen to Wu-Tang all the time. I listen to Beasties all the time, Rage Against the Machine. So the older I get, the more I want my music to be ferocious. I've always wanted it to be, but as I've gotten older, I require it to be even more ferocious. I listen to a lot of metal, like a lot of metal, and I've always listened to metal. Metal is my first love. Metal is my
Okay.
first love. I was talking to Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine about this and how we're both very much into punk rock, but we got into it through metal. And, with the exception, of course, of the Sex Pistols. The Sex Pistols creates the way for a band called Crass. And in the middle, the band that kind of bridged it all was a group called the Misfits. And then when I was, my late, maybe 8, 9 years old, 12 years old, 13 years old, Minor Threat into Fugazi. I was probably like 13, 14 into Fugazi. So Misfits, Fugazi, more Minor Threat, Operation Ivy a little bit later, into a band called Rancid. Matt and Tim Lint from Ivy go to Rancid. And so by the time I'm 18 years old, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Nirvana's first record, the first Nirvana tape before the big one, the first Nirvana tape was called Bleach, the first Screamin' Life FOP EP from Soundgarden. I was a teenager before they broke big, before grunge broke big. So honestly, from the age of 7 to 17, I lived in the world of Picassos and Da Vinci's in music. And then we had the backdrop of Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin and The Clash and Marvin Gaye. So we just had all this stuff floating around. That's why I jokingly give my Gen X friends a hard time. It's just like, you don't get to suck. You're not allowed to suck. You're not even allowed to be upset because you were given the keys to the greatest museum of culture of all time. It is your responsibility now to do something with what you learned. And so all that music stays with me even after all these years.
It's true. I'm always listening to old music. I mean, still listen to my Lauryn Hill, Erykah Badu. Like,
Yeah.
I'm an R&B girl, so I love that.
So I listen, the new bands I love, Kneecap, Sleaford Mods, Duna, Snow to Product. I listen to that stuff a lot. Duna's got a new song that's out of this world. MC Spider and DJ Selecta have a record called Foundation Style. It's a newish song, but they're OGs. So the new Massive Attack song with Tom Waits is out of this world. So I'm listening all the time. The best track I've heard in the last month is the Duna track. And then there's a band of different indigenous groups from central Siberia called Otyken, Otyken, just put out a track called Tundra. Fucking bops, man. Bops. And, and so I'm always listening to it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I will kind of mention music therapy. How did you I mean, it's kind of apparent, like you did speak about how music moves you. Do you practice music therapy like on the regular? Like, is that how you relax?
No. So music is therapeutic for us, for sure.
Yeah.
But music therapy is very different. Music therapy is in the hands of a trained professional, going to people in hospice and palliative care, in people with severe physical or learning disabilities, it's using music to comfort and, I mean, not heal in the traditional sense. Many of these conditions are not going to be healed in this era with the current realities. But music therapy is a music therapist going to somebody in need and using music with them to connect to them, maybe get them moving their hands and clapping, just singing. Again, it's not results driven in the traditional sense. So it's not the same thing as how we feel when we love music.
Okay.
So the music therapy scholarship is that I started with the Canadian Music Therapy Trust Fund was to help pay for some of the education to train future music therapists, because I don't think that vocation gets enough respect, and I don't think people understand it enough. The government should be funding this. It is a compassionate, beautiful line of work. And so this woman called Reagan, who worked for the Music Therapy Trust Fund at the time, reached out to me and said, "Hey, I know you're not a rich man, but you have a job. Would you fund the scholarship?" But I said yes. That's how it happened. So Reagan asked me to do it, and I said, I didn't know her, but I love what music therapy is. I've worked on behalf of a foundation called Music Heals for a long, long time. And it just made sense. It just made sense to be a part of it. So it's not the same thing as feeling good when we listen to music for you and I.
Yeah.
But it really is. It's music as a tool in the hand of a trained professional, and the impact it can have on somebody's life in very complicated situations.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that, because I was taking it as like I do listen to music when I'm not feeling well, so I was taking it as that, but it seems more of a healing process is what you're saying or you explaining.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Yeah. No, of course. It's happy to. Music therapy is incredible. It's incredible. Somebody in palliative care who's facing their end days, provide them comfort.
Yeah.
Provide them comfort. Send somebody in there with guitar and provide them comfort. What a beautiful job. The world would be a lot better if we had more music therapists being around people and governments and corporations playing a role. It's just, what is the point of being alive if it's not to make somebody else have an easier path, honestly?
Yeah.
Because
Mm.
that to me is as a driving force of the human experience is how we operate together. And I find music therapy to be a very, a very bright light example of that.
Beautiful. I never congratulated you for being appointed to the Order of Canada.
Oh,
How
thank
did
you,
that
thank you.
feel?
I've got the medal over there in my bedroom. How did it feel? It's
Mm.
cool. It's cool. I appreciated it. I did. I it it's cool. I was
It just okay.
yeah, I don't I'm grateful for the acknowledgement. I say this and you might not believe me, but I mean it. I have done this long enough to know that I am successful in part because of me, but in part because of everybody I've worked with, all those people I told you who trained to be. I nobody is a successful person on TV or radio without having an amazing group of people along the way, including people who work daily with them. So when you're the person who has your name on the show or the platform, the camera, the microphone, whatever you're using, the phone, you get more love than you deserve, and you get more hate than you deserve. You're just the face of a thing. This is the modern experience, and there's always been. So I don't think it's a good idea to look at any award or acknowledgement as a symbol of your accomplishment. For me, I think it's healthier and it's a better idea to look at any of these recognitions as an acknowledgement of this amazing journey that I have been lucky enough to be on with an amazing group of people. So in a way, you accept it on behalf of, right?
Yeah.
It's all true. It's also cool. I think it's funny. I did never in a million years could I have imagined that this is where my life would go. Never in a million years, right? So I'm grateful to get it from Mary Simon, the Governor General. I'm grateful to get it from her. Her and I have crossed paths in the past, so I'm glad it was her as the GG. I got it when Christy Belcourt was there, and to get the Order of Canada while one of Christy Belcourt's pieces of art were hanging in the Governor General's place. And when Christy got hers, what was amazing is that the Governor General, Mary Simon, an Inuk woman, presenting an Order of Canada to an Indigenous woman while her art hung in the Governor General. That's the first time that ever happened. That's the part of the day that got me. Not my part, that part. That part got me. And I could feel emotional at that part. For me, it was just don't fall down, get through it and go. But what made me laugh was the person who narrates, does the introduction. George Stroumboulopoulos, and they tell you something. They do it with everybody. They say something about your name, and then they say, "Your Excellency," to the Governor General, Madam, and they say your name. But for me, they didn't say my name. They said my nickname. They said, "Your Excellency, Strombo," which I thought was kind of cool. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, you are Strombo. Like that's actually I have written it on my board Strombo today. That's what I have written. Because that's how we know you. I mean, we know
Yes, I
your
know.
name, but it's just
And
like
it sort of happened by accident, but it's true.
happened by accident. How did that happen by accident?
I don't even know. I don't even know how Strombo happened. I don't even know who first called me Strombo. I didn't call me Strombo. Somebody called me Strombo.
Yeah.
And then and then that name sort of just maybe it happened in high school. I had much more complicated
So it's
nicknames in
been
high
that
school.
long? Has it really
Yeah,
been that long?
but I don't really remember. I actually don't really remember how the Strombo thing happened. Maybe one day the memory deep in my brain will be, jostled free and I can work out.
Looking back, what risks did you take that truly shaped your career? And what advice would you give someone that was afraid to make that leap?
Yeah, you know what I do now, and this is what's extended my career, is that I bet on myself. I used to think you had to get a job. Now I don't. Now I think, you have to earn money. You have to carve out your own path. But I believe in what I'm doing. And it's a risk to believe in something when other people think you're delusional about it. And I have ideas that I think I can pull off that are very complex and big. And there's lots of people in my life who don't think that way. And so they try to dissuade you from that. And I simply will not abide. I will not be dissuaded by anybody who isn't doing big things. I
And that's,
won't, because I don't respect the advice. I respect it in its context, but I don't respect it as a thing I should follow. Right?
yeah.
Many, many, many years ago, rest in peace to Guru from Gangstar. He was on my old radio show, like when I was 23 years old, 24.
Oh.
And Guru said, and this is not true, but what he said was, hang around 9 broke friends, you're the 10th, right? So I don't apply that to financial stuff, but I think about hang around 9 scared people and you're the 10th. Hang around 9 people who hold back, you're the 10th. Hang around 9 people who just talk a big game but don't do it, and you're the 10th. And I refuse to be the 10th. So I'm quite the opposite. I'm the person in your life that says, why not? Because why not? What's the worst that can happen? It won't work. Big deal. It might not work this time, but it might teach you something for next time. So I don't play we always have people in our lives that are your real talk friends. It's very important to understand when their real talk is bullshit. When their real talk is negative and fearful and I just want the best for you. But don't you know you don't want the best for me, because the best for me is me doing what I want, like excelling in the place I want to excel. Whether or not I pull it off is not the point, because there's so many things out of your control as to whether or not a thing's going to work. But what's in your control, for the most part, is your effort and your desire and your delusion and your behavior and all that other stuff, right? So I, years ago, stopped taking the counsel of people who can't do it, or worse, can do it and won't do it. And it's a big risk, and it's a lonelier existence.
Yeah.
But who cares? Because there are lots of people out there who are more than happy to say, I don't know if it's going to work, but let's try. You know, there's that old joke, Mish, that people say, a friend will bail you out of jail, and a good friend will be sitting beside you in that cell saying, wow, that was fun. I'm that guy. I'm that guy.
I already know that. I knew how that was going to answer. Oh, that was going to end. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. God, you're very exciting. You're very like, you just don't care. I love that attitude.
Well, I care about people. Like I care about
Oh, I know
people. I
you
care about the
definitely.
world. Yeah, but I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're just fearless, and that is what I love. I love that you're so fearless and you just do what you want. It's really awesome.
I mean, I'm
So,
in my fifties. Like, what do I have nothing to prove? What do I care? You know, like it's here's how we think about it. If the rest of my career goes away, and I have to live in my cabin in Topanga, California. I have like a little small cabin that I rent in the woods with the bears and the snakes. If I just were to live there and write and paint and play piano and go for walks, if I couldn't be happy doing that, then there's something wrong with me.
mm,
There's something wrong with me. I've already done the things I never set out to do any of this in my career, but I've been lucky enough to do it. But what's the point of getting to this age, or any age, but truly this age? Because I do think, you know, when I was in my 20s, 30s, 40s, I mean, like I said, I work as hard, probably harder now than I ever have.
wow. Hmm.
For sure, for sure, for
You
sure.
work harder now than then?
Oh, like 10 times,
Okay,
like 10
how
times harder.
come?
Yeah.
Like, why is that? I don't know that.
Because I love it. I love it.
So you mean you have more opportunities now? Is that what you mean? Or
No,
you just work
no.
harder? Really?
I just work
Okay.
harder. Yeah, I'm pushing myself harder all the time. I take no days off. I take no hours off, really. You know, I mean, of course, I have days where I'll just, you know, relax a little bit and I won't do as much stuff, but I'm still working pretty much all the time, you know, all the time. And because I love it, because I love storytelling. I love using story
Yeah.
as a vehicle to connect human emotions
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
tell stories and grow our consciousness in my way. But just like we are just one paintbrush, one stroke on a canvas of myriad voices throughout time. who've tried to tell the story of who we are and help somebody else get better. We're not the painting. We're just one brushstroke, two, three brushstrokes. That's a gift. It's a gift to be able to sit across from somebody in
Yeah.
person or digitally and maybe help them find a little clarity and they help you find a little clarity, or they muddy up the pool enough and tell you to jump in anyway. That's a gift to have those opportunities. So why wouldn't I don't have kids. I don't want kids. Like why would I do that? You know, like why if so many of my friends have all the opportunity to live freely and they still choose to live trapped. And I just think, what's the point, man? You know, that's the edgier side of me, which is, guys, like, time is running out in our life.
Yep.
What do we care? You know,
Yeah.
just go.
That's awesome. Honestly, yeah, I'm everything you said in my head. I'm just, oh God, I love it. Thank you so much. This was such a pleasure for me. So when stop this, I'll be screaming like I'm excited. No, I just because the last thing you said really kind of hit me, but the storytelling. Because I don't know if you looked up to see what I've done. Like I started off as being a blogger, and then I got into podcasting, and then I used those conversations that I had on my blog and podcast to self-publish a book. So I
Hmm.
self-published a book like 2 years ago, but it's because I had a chance to sit with Black Canadian change makers over the past 10 years, people that I just wanted to meet. And they dispense all this. I learned lessons from them. You spoke about their success, and I was able to, even though no one believed in me or believed I was actually going to do it, write the book, and I did. So just what you just said just
That's
a minute ago
awesome.
made me think of what I did, because I kept telling people over the summer of 2024 that I'm working a book, and literally no one believed me. And it just
Yeah.
came out. I'm like, you just got to believe in something and just do it. So
Yeah. Friends and your circle and family are such interesting dynamics because we have them and we have them and we develop those connections and relationships at different stages of our lives. But, and as uplifting and beautiful as it can be, it can also really drag you down.
yeah,
It can drag you down.
yeah.
If you have the wrong people in your circle, it will drag you down. You always want people who keep it real around you, but that's not the same thing as holding you back. You know, it's really, really important. A friend of mine taught me a long time ago, she said, you don't want to discard people, you want to discard behavior. And I think that's true. But some people are just bad for you, or their lessons are bad for you. That doesn't mean you discard them, but you have to put them in a different box in your mind. It has been my experience anyway.
Yeah.
Because what's the assignment? What is the assignment? If you just want to lime with your friends and hang, cool, that's also very cool. But if you have other things that you believe you're set out to do, what materials do you need? In which order do you have to do the thing to build the thing you need? What's the assignment? And I live, I live by that. I get it wrong all the time, but I don't care if I get it wrong because I'm learning. There's
Mm,
things that, you know, I have
yeah.
scars on my arm from burning myself trying to fix a motorcycle. And now when I go to fix the motorcycle, I know how to fix the motorcycle differently because this scar over here reminds me of what I did wrong, right? So
Yeah.
you there's just all kinds of ways to grow. But if you hang around nine scared friends, you will be the 10th.
I
And
love that. That is something
and
that, wow, that's deep, you know? I love
and
it.
it's not that you want to abandon your scared friends by any means, but you have to understand that they're not the expert. They're not the expert. We're taking advice from all these people in this world who don't know what the hell they're doing because almost nobody knows what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, that's so true.
and and they don't know your brain chemistry. They don't know what you're capable of. And I believe firmly that the world expects you to be more resilient than you actually are, but you are much tougher than you think you are.
Mm.
And that's how I get through life.
Let's just let's end it there. That was beautiful. That was so awesome. So again, George, thank you so much for sitting with me. This was
Thank you.
such a pleasure. Um, can you share your social media with anyone, or if someone want to get in contact with
Yeah,
you
yeah,
or learn more
yeah. Follow
about
me.
you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm at Strombo, Strombo, on that, or you can just look for my name on Facebook and Instagram, YouTube, my YouTube channel. A lot of music stuff there. My YouTube channel. That's the Strombo Show on YouTube. That's where you can find most of my stuff. I have other things coming. I can't talk about them quite yet,
Oh, okay. No
but
worries.
we have but we yeah. So just find me on socials at Strombo. And if you like punk rock, check out a band called Mermaid Island. I just signed them to my label. My label's called No Dad Records, which that title makes me
No
laugh.
doubt.
I didn't have a dad. I think it's funny.
Call it
So I think it's funny. No Dad Records. Yeah, it's funny. So and you can find that online too.
the-
Mermaid Island.
Oh my God, I love the name of your record. I'm serious. Wow, that was awesome. You are amazing.
Oh,
I'm
you're
sorry,
kind.
but
Thank you,
I'm just
Michelle.
gushing. But I'm glad that I'm gushing because it's warranted. You are what I heard today. Just you kind of just you're. I know I don't want to say preaching, but you just told me so much, and I took so much, and I'm hoping everyone that listens could take what you said and use it in their life because you just dropped some gems on me, and I'm just so appreciative and honored, privileged. Like I'm just happy. So thank you so
Thank you.
much.
No, thank you for your time and thanks for including me in your journey.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Take
Talk
care,
soon.
George. Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
I hope you can tell that I had a great time talking with Strombo. He is delightful, lovely, professional, and extremely easy to speak with. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for the chat, Strombo. Bye.